Welcome to a very spooky Five Stripe Friday. I'm Blake, the Marshman.
I'm ATL Joe! Get me out of here!
We've had some very dark and terrible news that has betrothed Atlanta United over the past week and a half. But we're here to bring you the preview and welcome you to a new reign, a new shield holder. Atlanta United goes for the shield this Sunday. We're going to get you ready. Thanks for tuning in. Joe, are you okay?
I'm lost! I'm hurt.
One second, big wall. We ready, need everybody. Inbound. We ready. Some days I smile like Miggy. Everybody united around my city. Mercedes-Benz sound real pretty. Coach top put me in, I'm ready.
Hey, what's up, Five Stripe faithful? It's me, Blake the Marshman. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Happy Halloween coming up soon. Happy Five Stripe Friday. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars on this beautiful Five Stripe Friday from wherever you're listening, or people I think are still watching us on YouTube or listening on YouTube. Joe, how you doing?
Oh, Blake, I'm happy to make it back in here. Man, it's been a long year. And I'm just happy to announce that I finally have made it out from the depths of the dungeon down below Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yeah, that was a long 365 days since you've been in that dungeon.
Yeah, and finally the ban has been lifted and they released me to the public again.
Let's talk about what hasn't been released, Joe. And that's why we're about to break this incredibly breaking news. It's time for the ATLiens United news update. And we got so much news, so much to catch up on. Here we are, October the 26th. We are just a measly 5 days from Halloween. We are coming up on probably, and I keep saying this, so I'm tired of saying it, the biggest game in Atlanta United history. But this is for all the marbles. This is for the Shield. In the cold at Toronto coming up. Joe, what do we got on the slate of news for this week?
Well, if you guys are ready for this Halloween weekend, we got Fall-O-Ween Fest. It's going to be at the Home Depot backyard, the little tailgate area that just opened up. It's a free from 5 to 9 p.m. You got lawn games, trunk or treating. They got a hay maze, and costumes, of course, are encouraged.
At least it's a free festival. I've been a little bit disappointed by the Home Depot's backyard atmosphere. I was there this last match. I think part of it is the fact that all the supporters groups are still in the Gulch. And once they start construction on the Gulch or whatever they're doing in the offseason, I think next year we're going to see a really great atmosphere in the Home Depot backyard.
Oh, yeah.
I just think for right now it's a little bit new. They're trying out some Fall-O-Ween fests and some stuff.
End of season is more of a soft opening for the Home Depot backyard. They just started it. The Gulch is where the party is, and they've got more space in the Gulch, let's be honest.
Yeah, they got to migrate the party.
And that's where we've been all season. We're not moving from the Gulch until they do whatever they want to do to it. But moving on to in more news, if you guys want to see another cool festival around town, the Earth Brewing is having a 3-day festival, and that's in Roswell. It's their first anniversary party.
From the Earth, yeah.
Yeah, from the Earth Brewing. And it's a brew house. They make wonderful of their own craft beer, and they're throwing a 3-day festival. Some of the members of the Tedeschi Trucks Band are going to be performing there. So it's going to be a real hit. So on Saturday, I know Atlanta United's not playing. You guys should make your way to Roswell and check out From the Earth Brewing.
Yeah, it's today. It's the 26th all the way through Sunday. If you guys can't make it up to Toronto, which I know I can't, I think they're also going to be showing the game at From the Earth Brewing. So awesome brewery. Really not just a brewery, a brew pub. Fantastic food. 1 year, it's going to be many years that this place is up in Roswell. Great little spot. And if you guys haven't been, you got to go check it out. I know that we've been sampling a bunch of different beers from them. We'll get to that more later. But From the Earth Brewing, great spot to hang out this weekend.
Yeah, and so some other things going on around Atlanta. If you guys are tired of not being able to go downtown during the week. Well, the Hawks season just started, and they just had their season opener in a new remodeled stadium that they just opened at Phillips Arena, which is now called Blake
State Farm Arena.
Yeah, and you were there this past week, yesterday, when they had their season opener. How was it?
Yeah, Blake from State Farm. I wasn't wearing khakis, but the atmosphere was pretty awesome. I was really impressed by the renovations. They've opened it up a lot. Like Mercedes-Benz, there's a lot of views into downtown and the surrounding areas. You can kind of walk 360 degrees around the arena now. Really intimate. Actually less seating than before, but it's louder in there. It feels more intense. You feel closer to the floor. I had a great time. I loved watching Ice Trae Young, as they're calling him.
Ice Trae?
Like an ice tray. Yeah, it's pretty funny. That's his nickname. And, we already got John Collins, a.k.a. John the Baptist. So we got a solid squad of young players this year. Hopefully the Hawks have a great season, but it was fun being in there for the opener.
How does it compare to Mercedes-Benz Stadium?
I think it was actually, if you took that tiny bit of Mercedes-Benz that is a supporter section, then that was probably as loud as the entire arena got. But it was still pretty rowdy in there, especially for home opener. The Hawks got the W. It was a blast. You guys go check out the new State Farm Arena.
Yeah, and so we get back to Mercedes-Benz. We get another win, and now we're sitting on top of the Supporters Shield. And some cool news, now that it's gotten cooler outside, Mercedes-Benz Stadium has been open the past couple of events, including the Falcons game and the Chicago Fire game.
Yeah, I honestly thought they just opened the roof because there was a fire inside. But then I realized we were playing the Chicago Fire. So it made more sense why the roof was open. It was a game, it wasn't a fire. It was a little bit of a mix-up. I think that's initially why they opened the roof, but then they realized it was the Chicago Fire. And we took care of them. They got a pretty cheap goal. We got a lucky own goal that evened the cheap goal out.
We'll talk about that in a second.
We march on.
Yeah, but and so the real fire that kind of lit and got everybody all upset, but maybe we're all expecting it, is our coach, Tata Martino. Cue the sad music. Because he has announced that he will no longer be coaching Atlanta United after this season.
Yeah, this is the darkness. This is what we felt was going to be very spooky about this week. And I don't know what this team looks like without Tata. And we're going to talk about this in the coming weeks. We're going to talk about this in the coming months. But this is a blow, even if we knew it was coming. It was like a death we knew was coming. It was like, Tata, you're not saying you're staying, so that has to mean maybe you're leaving, but just give us a little bit of hope. And he never gave us any hope. And
like, it hurts me truly and deeply. And I really wish Tata could have been a guy that stays and build this team forever and ever. But I also want to thank Tata Martino for coming to Atlanta and being part of building this team from the ground up. And now we have a chance this weekend to win the Supporters Shield. And beyond that, Tata has a chance to bring a second-year team to a MLS Cup final, which may be even more important than a Supporters Shield. And he can go out on top.
I think he already has proven that he can come into the MLS and succeed. I think he's already broken a tremendous amount of records. He's helped launch this team. And we'll talk more and more about this, like I said, in the coming weeks. But Tata, once again, thank you. We're devastated, but thank you. And we just got to move on.
Yeah. Speaking of Tata not leaving, there's been a couple rumors. And one guy of South American descent, Guillermo Barros Chalato, has been heavily linked to Atlanta United. And he's a guy that came out last year that was talking about wanting to coach at the MLS, and it's his dream to do that one day. Well, now there's a job opening in Atlanta, and he's a coach of Boca Juniors, so he's got a little good track record. So there's one, and if you guys listened a couple weeks ago, I briefly mentioned my list of 5 coaches that I thought could replace Tata, and they're all South American descent. But I have one guy that I'm really targeting that has not been linked to any rumors yet, except for Darren Eales with his constant cryptic tweets when he tweeted out about being at Copa Libertadores, and we know P.D. Martinez is on River Plate, and he tweeted, we're looking at scouting young talent, and there may be more than one top talent that we're scouting tonight. And I thought that link could very well be Marcelo Gallardo, the coach of River Plate. And he is one of the top young coaches in all of South America, arguably the best coach in South America club level.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's only 42 years old. He's an Argentinian coach. He played for Argentina on the national team. And he's honestly, it's not a bad call, Joe. And you know how Eels gets with his cryptic tweets. He's always hinting at something whenever he tweets anything. So I don't know. This might have legs. I like Guillermo Barros Chilato as well. I think that Boca Juniors is a fantastic club, and I think that he could slide in. He's already said he likes the MLS. He's even mentioned Atlanta. And there's reports out of Argentina that he's definitely leaving Boca Juniors after this year with his next destination unknown. Both have legs. I think we can't harp on these rumors too much. We got a lot to worry about, and a lot to worry about that is still concerning Tata as our coach. Tata's going to ride this thing out. He's with us until the end. We got to rally behind this. We can't view this negatively as a club. This is what's going to happen. We are going to develop, and we're going to keep on bringing in top talent, and sometimes people are going to see greener pastures. We have to accept that and learn from it, and I'm excited for these next couple games with Tata at the helm.
Yeah, I'm just planting little seeds there. And speaking about seeds and breaking records, let's congratulate Orlando for a record-breaking season. That's a very solid clap there.
Golf clap.
Trash Lando broke the record. If you guys don't know this, it's a crazy record. They went above and beyond what everyone else could do, and they broke the record for most goals conceded
ever
in the history of MLS.
Ever.
That record is 73 goals conceded, and they still have one more game to go.
They still got another game to play.
Now, hopefully that last game they have a shutout.
Yeah, we really need them.
They're playing New York Red Bull, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, a big shout out to our other neighbors that aren't really even in the South, but they like to pretend they are. The Kitty Cats of the South, our favorites from Orlando. That Orlando was so big that they had 73 goals worth of trash that they could dump.
A lot of MLS soccer balls are in that Orlando.
Into the Orlando, but we need them to keep the Red Bulls out of the goal. So hopefully the Orlando has been sealed shut for this final game. Obviously coming down to the wire between us and Red Bulls, and Orlando is playing the Red Bulls. In other news, we've secured a Concacaf Champions League spot. So once again... Woo! That's a little more applause right there. That is fantastic, and I don't think all of our fan base realizes how big that is because we haven't played in this competition yet.
I am so excited.
Tell us a little bit about the CONCACAF Champions League, Joe.
So it's a Champions League, and they bring all the champions or top talent from around the CONCACAF region, which is North America, so Canada and Mexico and the United States, plus the island nations, and they bring up the best talent there. It really is a competition between USA and Mexico. And you can throw possibly Toronto in there of the past because they made it to the final.
Sure.
And it's to see who the best team is, and it's a wonderful competition. And the winner of that competition goes on to the best of the best, and it's called FIFA Club World Cup. And that's the ultimate goal to get there, to play a team like Real Madrid, who's won it multiple years in a row.
Yeah, and I mean, it's honestly, most people are very familiar with the term Champions League, people that follow soccer. UEFA Champions League, the European Champions League, is the most famous, if not the most prestigious club competition in the world. The final this past year included my guys Liverpool against Real Madrid. Real Madrid came out with the W there. But what happens is they end up playing the winner of the UEFA Champions League. And so I think that it could really open up some doors for our club on a global level. We've already made waves, made records at a national level, but this could open Atlanta United up to the world if we have a lot of success in this competition.
And not to mention, Blake, it gives our fans a chance to travel to some island nations. We could go to Costa Rica, or we could travel down to Jamaica, or it just opens up some wonderful, wonderful road games that we get to go to, and then some dangerous spots in Mexico.
Joe, Costa Rica is not an island, but we'll move on. Supporter Shield update.
They're part of the Champions League.
It's
that
tropical.
Was my point.
It's tropical. Supporter Shield update. Obviously, we've talked about this before. Orlando beat Columbus Crew this week, so maybe they could actually rally and get a draw out of Red Bulls. We are 1 point in front of Red Bulls. We're going to go over some scenarios later, but I'll break it down really simply for you guys. We're ahead by 1 point. A win, and we get the shield. A draw and a win by Red Bulls, and it's kind of a toss-up. And then we just got to win. I'm not going to go through all the scenarios.
We just got to win.
We have to win. If we win, we get the shield. If we draw, we might get the shield. If we lose, we're probably not going to get the shield because they're playing Orlando. That's pretty much sums it up, right?
Well, Blake, that hurt a little bit just to listen to you talk about all that. Can you tell me what else is hurting?
Injury report. Injury report.
All right, we got the official injury report. Sal Zizzo, big-time player for us that no one cares about, is still out, and who cares? Mikey Ambrose, he had a pretty cool interview that I really like. I think it had some good quotes in it, but he's actually still out for 3 to 4 more months with knee surgery, so no one cares. Tito Vijaba!
Vijaba, flying down the wing.
He's probably jogging down the wing at this point, but he had a leg injury, but he has returned to training. There's a chance we could see Tito at Toronto. Personally, I don't think Tata's going to risk him because we got playoffs on the mind as well. It's this weird, how do I pronounce this word? Conundrum. It's conundrum. What do? Do we go all out for the shield, or do we save our players for the playoffs? What's more important? The cup, the shield? I don't know. What's bigger?
Well, we have plenty of depth here, so we've got chances to play other people in Tito's spot. But if Tito is healthy and ready at a full go, I'm putting him in my starting lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be cold up in Toronto, but I would like to see Tito play this game. Out, and I'm going to say this pretty confidently. I think Miggy's out 100% this game. He is week to week, still has that hurt hamstring, and he's only been seen in training off to the side. So he's not back in full team training. I just don't see it happening this quick of a turnaround. I think he'll be back for the playoffs 100%. Another Miggy update. I hate to say this. There is some rumors of him going to Tottenham, Darren Neal's old club where he was in the front office with. There might be some legs to this one, Joe. Rumored a little bit around $30 million cash money. You know, Darren Neal's earlier cryptically laughed at a $10 million offer from Miguel Almiron and said they're going to have to pay at least 3 times that. And now this rumor of a $30 million offer from his former club comes in. A little bit suspicious. I'm not saying there's any weight to it, but it is like one of those you're like, oh, that would actually kind of make sense.
Darren said he wouldn't get out of bed unless it was 3 times that, and now this rumor comes out.
There's 3 times that offer.
Maybe Darren's waking up.
Interesting. Enough with injuries, though. Let's recap the fire.
Yeah, Garza made it back to the 18. He never
Greg.
saw the field. But old Greg Garza, it was good to see him out there warming up with our boys. He's back ready and antsy, ready to play. We didn't get to see him out there.
But he wasn't on the injury report, so he's back.
But we got another one of our own. Young Andrew Carleton cracks the starting lineup.
He played well, in my opinion.
He's one of our own. Andrew Carleton. Yeah, and I thought he played great. And we had Barco and Carleton kind of up front running things. But interesting, we had Julian Gressel playing that right wing back. But he had a tendency all game long to really play that right wing and was really facilitating things down the right side. I thought he was all over the field. Gresselmania, that is. Was all over the field, distributing and really opening up things for everybody else, showing how good of a talent he really is.
All over the field. And speaking of talent, let's talk about a guy that has played solid all season, had a concussion, battled some injuries, been in and out of the starting lineup, comes in with a crucial goal.
Ran into a wall at one point.
Or
twice.
Escobar. That was a great goal. I really was impressed to see him. It was a great strike down to the bottom left corner. And it really set the tone for this game. I think it came early on. What was it, around the 19th or 20th minute, Joe?
It was within the first 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And he had the ball. He tried to set up Joseph with a cross, and it deflected right back to him, and he had one-timed it into the bottom corner of the net. So it was good thinking on his part to not hesitate to shoot. And he got a shot and scored.
Yeah, I mean, I was there in the supporter section. It was great to see Escobar get some recognition. And there was just like this little spurt of goals, and the rest of the game was just kind of blah. But I mean, there was a great atmosphere. I felt like we kept the energy up all game from a fan standpoint. We really got behind the team. This was just a weird game. There was like this 10-minute spurt of we score. Chicago got a goal that kind of looked offsides from where we were sitting, but it was just a weird goal. And then they give up a terrible own goal right after they score, and the game finishes just like that.
But we got the 2-1 win. We had a couple of huge starters out of the starting lineup, and we did very, very well. And people are a little scared of Joseph Martinez about him not scoring, but he had several chances that game. And I want to say one thing about Joseph. He had multiple shots, almost scored a couple goals. The goalie stuffed him a couple times, and that game's going to happen. The positive note there is that Joseph Martinez still got the ball in dangerous spots, and you keep giving him those chances, he will eventually put them away. Right, Blake?
I think he's just saving his goals for the playoffs, or maybe he's saving his goals to win a supporter shield. I think Joseph likes to play when it really matters. And that reminds me that, it's probably time that we break it down. It's time for the Joseph Martinez. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are back once again with a Hair Watch update. And this time it's a little bit different because this is a old school look, in my opinion. It's like a good, fresh pair of Nikes from the 80s. Joseph Martinez, he's rocking a short blonde hairstyle that reminds me when he first joined Atlanta United. And how would you describe this, Joe? It's not quite a crew cut.
No, he got it a little bit closer. It's almost looking more boyish. He likes the blonde, and I think he's just cleaning it up so he can grow it out for the playoffs.
I don't know if he has enough time to grow it out. I feel like right now he's just kind of rolling with like a nice, clean, professional, about to head to a job interview blonde Joseph.
Good. He's going with a more workman-like approach.
Yeah.
Saying that he's here for business.
Yeah, it's a business cut, and that's how I'm going to phrase it.
His business is to win the Supporters Shield and to win the MLS Cup.
Yeah, and that's why I saw him play on against the Fire on Sunday, and I was like, what is going on here? And then I realized that this isn't the interview that Joseph cares about. Yeah, he cleaned up his look. He's got a nice, slick, shorter blonde haircut. And we all know that blonde, statistics show, and obviously our analysis is beyond statistics. It's hair watch. It's overarching over any statistic. But Joseph scores more goals as a blonde than periwinkle or gray or even his natural hair color. We're not actually sure what that is. But let me tell you this. He does not care about this interview. He has some other job opportunities. If we're going to stick with this, Joseph's going to get a job mantra. He's got a supporter shield and MLS Cup to win. He did not care about the Fire game. That was just a little trial run. He was just trying out the new hairstyle. He's about to score back-to-back hat tricks. Just going to throw it out there.
Oh, so that would be to finish the season to get the supporter shield and then the first leg.
Yeah, and that'll just take that momentum all the way through.
I like it. I like where you're going. And, to celebrate that, I'm going to say this to you and everyone else that I need a beer. Beer of the week!
Every week, except when we take a week off.
Yeah, and because we took a week off, we're going to do a little special Beer of the Week style episode, and we're going to do a little sampler platter.
We've never done this before, and we're still going to spike one home, right, Joe? But this is going back to what we just talked about. And this is a fantastic brewery from the Earth up in Roswell, a little brew pub. If you guys have ever been to Wrecking Bar, it's a lot like Wrecking Bar. Great food, great beer. And they got their 1-year anniversary party. So we got a couple different beers, Joe. What are we spiking home right now?
So we've got 4 beers to sample, but I'm going to spike home none other than, it's called the Golden Spiral, to kind of spin off of the Golden Spike.
Golden Spike for the Golden Spiral.
And let me spike this one in for you.
ATL. Wow.
And the other 2 are 3. Blake's already opened. He was getting a little antsy and started drinking a little bit early.
So we actually got 4 samplers for this this great Beer of the Week feature from the Earth.
But I got the golden ale here. It's Golden Spiral. It's 5.1% alcohol. And it's got a very smooth golden ale flavor to it. Blake, what beer are you drinking over there?
Pass that down to me. So I'm actually been trying out the Going West IPA in honor of your recent trip to California. We talked about it a little bit, but I'm like, Joe headed out west. I need to try out the Going West. We also have a Midnight Rider Porter. A little shout out to Not Gonna Let Them Catch Me, no. Not Gonna Let Them Catch the Midnight
Allman
Rider.
Brothers, Statesboro's finest.
Yeah. And then I think they had an Oktoberfest we threw in there as well. And because it's America, we celebrate Oktoberfest
all the way through October.
Exactly.
We just do the full ride.
So
we see it all the way through.
They got tons of great beers on tap. This is their 1-year anniversary. Like I said, this brew pub is just getting started.
And Blake, we had that that Going West a little bit earlier today. That was a phenomenal beer. I really like, and we're IPA lovers on the show. That one ranks up there with the best of them.
Yeah, so you guys be sure, like we said before in the news, if you're just tuning in and you guys just fast forward to Beer of the Week every week because it's the only segment you listen to, 1, I wouldn't judge you. 2, it's going to be a great weekend up in Roswell, 26th through the 28th. So today through Sunday, going to be live music, going to be great beer. Not a lot else you really need to have a great day. We're going to keep sampling all of this fantastic beer from the Earth. But we got to get to it, Joe. There's so much to preview. It's time for the preview.
And what a preview we have for you. We are going for the Supporters Shield. Not only are we going for the Supporters Shield, with a win, it's a guarantee that we win the Supporters Shield. But also a win guarantees that we break the record for the most points scored in MLS history, which you consider as the best team in MLS history. And not only are we going to break that record, we have a chance to do it in the home of the team that just broke that record 1 year from today.
You know what's crazy, Joe? And I don't want to be negative Nancy here, but we could actually draw this game, lose the Supporter Shield, and still break the record for most points ever. Except Red Bulls would then break the record we just broke. That's how insane this season's been. Right now, we just tied the record. 69 points. Very nice.
Yeah.
But also, we're going into it. We could get to 70 points, which would break the record. If Red Bulls win, they'll be at 71. And we break the single season points record and don't even get the Supporter Shield. I know I'm knock on your wooden hammer, please.
If they win, it would be at 72, but we're trying to get to 70. No, we're trying to get to 72.
No, they're only at 68 right now. They can't get 4 points. They can't get 4 points. Keep knocking on your wooden hammer. But that's crazy. That's crazy. We could break the record and then not get the Supporter Shields. That's nuts.
No team has ever gotten close outside of Toronto. No team has ever gotten close to 69 points. So we just got to 69 points, and we still don't. It's still a possibility that we don't win the Supporters Shield. But with all of that, if we take care of business here, we do win the Supporters Shield. So let's talk a little bit about our opponent. We're playing Toronto, the team that won MLS Cup last year. They came into the season as the favorites to go back and win it again. And they went all the way to the Concacaf Champions League, something that we just qualified for.
The final.
And they made it to the very final and lost in that final. And then they just kind of blew up during the season. A lot of that had to do with they were facing a lot of injuries, but they were also resting a lot of their players. Altidore wasn't healthy for half of their beginning of the season. Victor Vazquez, who's been a very key cog in this team all of last year and when he plays this year, he was hurt during the beginning of the season. He was missing. And they were throwing a lot of weight on Giovinco's shoulders. And he's a tiny guy.
Doesn't have very big shoulders.
He can't hold much weight on his shoulders. Very talented, but without surrounding talent around him, you see him start to crack.
I think the most shocking thing about this season, and this is something that I'm just going to go ahead and throw out there and just get it out of my system. The Concacaf Champions League really seemed to take a toll on Toronto. And I think it exposed their lack of squad depth. They were a fantastic team for the MLS last year. But when you threw in that extra game, and especially because extra games, plural, especially because it's outside of the scope of the regular MLS season, so it kind of like extends their playing time, which is what we're about to walk into, which is exciting for me. It's more games, less time away from soccer. But it really took a toll on their team. They never really recovered. And this has been a disastrous season.
That's a good point. But, Blake, let me play a little devil's advocate on, you say Concacaf Champions League took a toll on their team. Well, New York Red Bulls, on the other hand, they qualified last year. And they made it to the semifinals. And they were one goal away. And it was a controversial call from being in the finals themselves. And look at New York Red Bulls. They're the team that's challenging Atlanta United for that supporter shield. So I wouldn't blame it on Concacaf Champions League as much as I would blame it on the club themselves. Toronto kind of imploded a little bit, even though they had all sorts of talent. Injuries piled up on them, a little bit lack of play, maybe a little cockiness. And now they're coming to face Atlanta. And a couple of the things I mentioned earlier that was a key part of their downfall at the beginning of the season. Jozy Altidore is out. He's undergoing ankle surgery. He's missing the rest of the season, which is one game for them. But then another big key that people might overlook is Victor Vazquez is also going to go undergo knee surgery, and they shut him down for the rest of the season. So they're missing 2 of their top 4 premier talents on their team. So it's really playing good for us. On top of that, they have nothing to play for.
Well, okay. They don't have nothing to play for. Let's really talk about this. And I'm gonna interject there, Joe. I agree that in the grand scheme of the MLS season, they have nothing to play for. But I will be honest with you. The Supporter Shield is still Toronto's. And we are going to their house for their final home game. All those people that purchased season tickets after they won the Supporter Shield, best ever season in the MLS last year, they bring it home, and this is the game they're supposed to give it away. They're supposed to pass it on to they were thinking they were going to keep it, but they passed the torch. They don't want to pass it to a second-year team from the South. They cruised up there in the cold Toronto weather, beat them down and take their shield. They'd much rather give it to their more seasoned rival in New York, the Red Bulls. I guarantee you ask any Toronto faithful fan, and they do not want to lose this game. They do not want to see Atlanta United come out of nowhere, take the shield from the dirty South. They want to see, okay, well, if we got to give it up, let's give it up to Red Bulls. You know, they made the Concacaf Champions League with us last year. They've been good competition. They got great players. They're up here north with us.
Or they don't want to give it away in their own home stadium.
Exactly.
That's a good point, Blake.
So I think they're playing for a lot. They're not just playing for pride. They're playing for their integrity. They're playing for their shield from last year. And I think they're going to come out incredibly scrappy. And, man, it's going to be cold up there.
It is going to be cold. I did go ahead and look at the high on Sunday. And the high this weekend is going to be 40 degrees. And we're playing later in the day, and after 4 it's going to start going down, and the high is going to be it's going to be below 40 degrees, and that's just cold.
It could fall to the 20s. I mean, we've already actually played in the coldest game in MLS history that's on record at Minnesota. We played at Minnesota, the coldest game ever. We played at Minnesota in the snow. That's just in our first 2 years of existence. More to be seen from Minnesota, I'm sure.
Now we're going to play in the cold blood game. And Blake, let's break this down a little bit further in Tata's tactics.
Lot to talk. And it's not going to be Tata's tactics for much longer, but we might keep it Tata's tactics as we move into the new season, just in honor of Tata, yet to be decided. Well, let's really talk tactics, Joe. And we've talked a lot this year. We've talked a lot about formations. We've talked a lot about different players in different positions. We've talked a lot about Atlanta United's philosophy when we have the ball and what we like to do, how we like to attack, and our style of play. But I think what we really need to talk about now, not just the playoffs, not just these next couple games coming up, because we have some incredible tactical matchups, But I want to backtrack just a little bit. I know at the beginning of the show, we came out with the very spooky, scary news that Tata Martino is going to be departing at the end of the season. A lot left to accomplish for us, for our fan base, for this club's history. It's all in front of us, and Tata can still be a part of that. But looking forward, I want to talk a little bit bigger picture. I want to talk about our style, our club's brand, and our identity as we emerge into the global market of world football. And that's what the Concacaf Champions League gives us the ability to do. I'm talking about kids in England knowing Atlanta United. I'm talking about kids on the streets of Spain knowing Atlanta United. And that's what I really think this next phase of Atlanta United can turn into, is not just, oh, wow, that was a cool thing they did for a couple years, but wow, this is a global brand, and this is the face of soccer coming from North America. And I know that's bold, I know that's a lot, but I really think we have all the tools to do that. But I think it starts with the style of tactical play that we bring to the field. And I'm very passionate about this. I'm not trying to go on a rant,
No, Blake.
but I think we have to keep a similar style. And I read this great article from the AJC about how they polled Atlanta United's players, like they talked to our players. They want to keep the same style. LGP was quoted saying, "I just hope the next coach has a similar style and ideas so we can continue to playing the same way that Atlanta United is known for and can be known for as a brand of football."
And Blake, you're hitting on several great points. And I want to remind everybody that Tata Martino did not bring this global brand of soccer to Atlanta United. He just enhanced it. It was our front office. It was Darren Eales and Carlos Bocanegra. And they were the masterminds around this whole product. And they all along had said they wanted to do a global brand of soccer. And then we got blessed with Tata Martino coming over here, and he enhanced that idea and brought that pipeline through South America. And so I 100% trust that our front office can do us no wrong. And they just keep on bringing these wonderful ideas. And tactically, as you speak, we bring that high pressure, high goal scoring, high volume offense. And that was the plan from all along. We said we may give up a lot of goals, but we're going to score a lot of goals. And we've definitely scored a lot of goals, and we don't give up that many goals, all being said.
I think it goes back to, if you look globally at the brands that have defined world football over the past 20, 25 years. And let's talk about what soccer is, what football is at its core. It's there to entertain the people. It's there to be entertaining. It's there to be something that you can escape from reality, whether it's on a Saturday or a Sunday. Do you really enjoy the product you see on the field? And I think that's what Atlanta United focused on from its creation. That's why they brought in Tata Martino, who comes from Barcelona back in his history, comes from Argentina, comes from styles of play that were meant to entertain the people. And people that have been watching soccer for a long time before they ever watched Atlanta United, that is what a team like Barcelona, Más que un club, more than a club, was built around. And whether you support them or not, you can't deny their attacking prowess through the years. Ronaldinho, Lionel Messi, and they just keep it rolling. The greatest players of all time, they've come through Camp Nou at Barcelona. And Tata Martino is one of those people that came through Camp Nou at Barcelona. And he left, and Barcelona continued. And I want to point that out, that we can become more than just a club. We can become more than just a coach. We just have to continue who we are as a club and find that identity. And if our identity is attacking, attractive soccer, then it doesn't matter who's coaching us, because the top coaches that are playing attractive, attacking soccer are going to want to come coach Atlanta United. And that's how it works, and that's how it flows, and that's how great clubs keep it going.
Very well said, Blake. And now that we've professed our love for the club of Atlanta United and how we're run, let's tell people how we're going to line up and how we're going to break down Toronto.
Yeah, let's back it up a little bit.
And go ahead and win this Supporters Shield.
Sorry, I got very romantic there.
Yeah, let's keep it one game at a time, Blake. And we're looking at Toronto. We win this game. We are Supporters Shield. We get our trophy. Miggy's not going to play. I'm throwing that out there. He's not training right now. There is no Miggy.
We're not gonna risk him at all.
Do you think Tito Villalba is going to be able to crack that lineup?
I don't think he cracks the starting 11. I think that Tito is going to be an incredible impact sub. especially if we got a draw going into the late parts of the game. I think Tito flying down the wing could be a great sub to bring on.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that I'll agree with you. That's a good possibility, and I'm going to put our for sure starters in there. Joseph Martinez is definitely starting up top. No other than Martinez. I'm predicting no less than a brace from Joseph. He's going to finish the season, remind everybody how good he is and why he should win the MVP of MLS, and just put more onto that goal-scoring title that he's already broken.
Well, his first ever hat trick was in the snow, was it not?
It was.
Yeah.
In the coldest game ever.
And so now he's broken the MLS hat trick record. It wouldn't be that bold considering the cold weather, considering the stakes at play, considering he got through that first interview that he didn't care about with his new haircut. I don't think a hat trick's out of the question, Joe.
And moving on, another guaranteed starter, Brad Guzan, starting in goal.
Goose!
And then above those two, we're gonna have Miggy. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I had a little something in my throat. I meant to say we have Parkey.
Parkey. Oh, yeah, that guy.
And LGP. They're going to be our defenders.
You know me.
And I'm sure Escobar is going to be in there. But I don't know. We got so much depth right now. I can't even say Escobar. Blake, I want to let you take over here with the whole midfield and the wing backs. Who do you think is going to get these starts?
So I'm going to go off of my gut. And my gut is that we believe if we can get past halftime with this game tied, that we can go in and we can get the goal that we need to win the game and win the Supporters' Shield. I'm not going to say we're going to come out cautious. We're not going to come out cautious at all. But I think we need to focus on defensive solidarity over anything else, and especially in this first half. We don't want to get down 1 or 2. We don't want to back off of the ball. So I think we play who we should play that is a solid defensive player at our left and right back positions. I think we stick with 4 at the back, and I think we go Escobar, McCann. I think that's a lot of experience. I think that's some big guys that can stop the ball.
That's where my mind's at too, Blake.
And keep it defensive. Bello has played great when he's in there. Garza is just coming back. I still don't think he's ready for a game of this magnitude. He hasn't even played a full 90 yet. And
so keep an eye out for Garza as a late sub.
Yeah, and then Gressel, we know he can play right back. But let's face it, I don't think his strongest point is at defense right now. He is the Swiss Army or the German Army knife of our team, but he cannot necessarily thrive at right back. I think he's better pushing up the field and attacking, and that's proven with his assist record this year.
And he's going to play. So you're saying we're going to put him at that right wing.
100%. And I say our midfield, we stay defensive as well. I think we've seen that Remedy is a great anchor in the midfield, and we've also seen that Larry's a great anchor in the midfield. Why not put them both in the same lineup, especially with Miguel Almiron out for this game, and put Darlington Nagbe at the top of that triangle and have that midfield 3. That's 3 players that can not only move the ball forward, but they can also stop any attack. And right there, I feel very solid about us not giving up a goal.
And that leaves one player left, and that's that left wing. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's going to be Ezequiel Barco.
I think you're right, man. This is a guy making $1.5 million in salary per year, broke the MLS transfer record, and here we are playing for an MLS trophy. Like him, hate him, want him on the bench, want him off the team, I don't care. We paid this guy $1.5 million this year for moments like this. So I truly, truly challenge Ezequiel Barco to step up because this is a shot. I don't think we're going to throw a young Andrew Carleton into cold Toronto. I think last week was a perfect game for him to play. He played great. But I think this is Barco's moment. And step up.
And those are the 2 people that you may be looking at with the lineup we just gave you is Barco or Carleton. And I truly believe Barco is a little bit ahead of Carleton at the moment in their development. They're around the same age. And they're still, both of them have a lot to develop in their game. But Barco showed flashes, just like he does every game. But last week I thought he showed more flashes than usual of getting back to that top talent level. He controlled the ball very well. His decision-making was a little bit more crisp than it has been. It wasn't where I wanted it to be. But he was making solid passes, solid decisions, and holding onto the ball more. So, yes, throw Barco out there and let our whole team and revolve around. Tell Barco to pass it to Joseph. Let Joseph score the goals.
Yeah, I mean, Barca, he has been so hot and cold this season. He's been hesitant when he gets into that attacking third a lot of times, in my opinion. He likes to play the sideways pass, not necessarily that attacking ball. But, just to break it down, he's got to play a good game this week because this is what it's all about. This is what we pay the guy $1.5 million. We broke the MLS transfer record, blah, 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 blah. He's got to prove it right now. This is his moment. He can turn around the entire fan base's perspective of him within a couple minutes. Honestly, if he can have a moment of magic. So
if he can score the game-winning goal that gives us the supporters shield,
it can change the whole script of Barco's
and that's
career.
what we're looking at this weekend.
Yeah.
We've got a full lineup. We're going up against Toronto, who's been down all season. Atlanta is being one of the best MLS teams in the history of MLS. Going to Toronto Sunday in the cold, we're all going to be watching it, whether you made the trek, went all the way up north and went and saw it at Toronto, or if you're staying in Atlanta, going to one of our bars to be rowdy and proud. If you want to go watch it at Brew House, it'd be a wonderful atmosphere. It doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're watching the Five Stripes. Try to bring it home for the Five Stripe faithful.
Yeah, and I mean, our team, our club, our city, this means a lot right now. This means a lot to the people that have been with the club since day one. This means a lot to the supporters groups, the supporters section, the fans that produce week in, week out to create the atmosphere that we get at Mercedes-Benz. And I've been getting emotional and sentimental this whole week. I mean, this goes back to our front office setting up such a great foundation for us to really build this season on, carrying over from our inaugural season. And honestly, it all is kind of coming to a peak. Like this is the climax. This is what we play for. This is what we wanted to get to. And it's happening Sunday at 4, and it couldn't be a bigger game, Joe.
I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to see you guys in the playoffs, Blake, and all my ATLiens. This has been a wonderful, wonderful year. And I just got to leave you on this note. We are the A from way down south, and we are here, rowdy and proud.
And we'll see you next week.
Sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la.